Well, Canada, was it worth it? Justin Trudeau has been importing, in fact, every government over the past couple decades have been importing temporary foreign workers relentlessly. And Cargill meat packaging right here is no exception. You might not know much about Cargill meats, so let me give you a little glimpse. They're actually the largest American company that is not publicly traded. Yes, you heard that right. They are swimming in cash. It's a family that owns this, Cargill meat packaging. And here in Alberta, just south of Calgary, north of High River, it has become the epicenter of coronavirus outbreak, of the Wuhan flu outbreak here in Western Canada. Over 450 cases have been linked back to this specific plant. And it's all because the temporary foreign workers that are coming to work here, there's about 2,000 of them. They're all being housed in very, very close quarters. And it's having a terrible impact on Calgary and the surrounding area. Let me explain why. You can look at this photo to see exactly where in Calgary the largest parts of the outbreak is. It's all in South Calgary. I wonder why. Well, if you look at Dr. Hinshaw and what she was saying at her press briefing on Monday, you can see that she has directly linked the cases here at Cargill to the outbreaks in Calgary. The largest outbreaks in Calgary are in the south end, near the areas of Legacy and Shaughnessy. It's all because these workers actually live in the south end of Calgary in very, very cramped, close quarters. This is exceedingly frustrating because right now, Canadians are looking at 20% unemployment. Over 2 million Canadians are looking for work, but for some reason, this mega rich ultra corporation, this multinational corporation that is swimming in cash, is bringing temporary foreign workers into Canada, even after the travel ban, as Trudeau has allowed temporary foreign workers to come into this country, even after he banned everyone else. But for some reason, our politicians and the businesses in this country have an addiction to temporary foreign workers, and it needs to stop. What is Cargill going to do if we tell them that they have to get off their addiction to temporary foreign workers? What if we tell them that they have to hire a Canadian instead of, I don't know, someone from Somalia or Ethiopia? Well, they're not going to go pack up and go to China. This isn't a dollar store trinket company. The beef is grown here. You can't outsource a 1,000-acre field, 1,000-acre pasture to China. You just can't do it. The beef is here. The good beef is here, and nobody's going to buy fresh ground beef from China. It just doesn't work like that. Cargill needs to get off of its addiction to temporary foreign workers. It's like crack cocaine to these people here. It's unfair to Canadians. Now, while it is Cargill's name up on the wall, we can't blame them completely for the situation that southern Alberta and South Calgary finds itself in right now. Cargill's doing whatever any reasonable firm would do, and that is maximizing profits. They're legally taking advantage of existing government programs that allow them to replace Canadian labor with foreign labor. For some reason, the federal government allows this to happen. They're the ones that are really to blame here. They should be prioritizing Canadians. They should be helping Canadians, especially at a time when record numbers of us are unemployed. Over 2 million Canadians need a job, yet for some reason Justin Trudeau is bringing temporary foreign workers and in fact paying for them to stay in quarantine once they cross the border, even though the border is closed to everyone else. The blame also lies on the shoulders of the temporary foreign workers themselves. The chief medical officer has said that the spread of this virus wasn't necessarily on the floor of Cargill, but it was in the way that these workers were getting to work. It was the carpooling, it was the jam-packed cars, and it was the squalorous conditions that they choose to live in. Now, keep in mind, these temporary foreign workers aren't being paid a slave wage. There's not a different minimum wage for temporary foreign workers. They're actually paid quite competitively because the job that they're doing isn't really an easy job. They're paid well. They choose, though, to send a large chunk of their paycheck back home. Keep in mind, they didn't come to Canada to make Canada a better place. That isn't their number one priority. Their number one priority is to make money and send it home. Somalis do it in insane numbers. $1.4 billion is actually sent back to Somalia from Somalians living in diaspora. Those Somalians choose to live in poor conditions so that they can spend as much money as possible back home, be it sending it to their families or using it once they get home. Now, the victims of the federal government and the temporary foreign workers that come to our country to use our economy are obviously those Canadians that could be working on the floor of the meatpacking plant itself. Now, lots of folks say that Canadians wouldn't want to do that job because it's dirty, it's icky, and your hands will get sticky. But of course we know that's not true. In a shocking video that was shared by Candace Malcolm from the True North, it was actually an excerpt from the CBC, none other than Rosemary Barton, who laughed at a law student who said he would consider working in agriculture. Watch this.
you would see yourself doing in terms of volunteer work or one of the jobs the Prime Minister was talking about?
Honestly, farming sounds quite interesting. I do have a background in athletics, so I'm not averse to rolling up the sleeves and getting out there and doing whatever I can to support both Canadians, fellow Canadians, and then also myself. So farming, but contract tracing, any way that I can help with the current efforts, I will be exploring.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a more out-of-touch Canadian than Rosemary Barton herself. Most jobs here in Canada aren't all makeup and hairdos like hers is. They're tough work, but Canadians are up to the challenge. Unfortunately, the ranchers who work upstream of Cargill are also victims of the federal government, and their livelihoods are on the line. Normally, they take their year's batch of calves and send it to feedlots where they'll be further fattened before they're sent to Cargill to be butchered and then sent to the shelves. Unfortunately, because feedlots aren't able to send product to Cargill right now, they're at capacity. We look to our political leadership, and what do we have? Justin Trudeau. He loves temporary foreign workers just as much as Cargill does. We look at Jason Kenney, and he actually left federal politics under a scandal regarding temporary foreign workers. We're not going to get any help from him. Unfortunately, Albertans are just going to hope that businesses start hiring from within our own country. Our unemployment numbers are spiking, and we have to fix it somehow. But people like the Cargill family are not going to be the ones to solve our problems. They are just making it worse. For Rebel News north of High River at the Cargill meat packaging plant, I'm Cian Bexty. Hey, thanks for checking out our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe to us. But if you want to hear the other side of the story, if you actually look over there, you can see CTV News filming right now. If you want to hear the other side of the story, ring the bell at the bottom of this video. If you do that, YouTube won't be able to push coverage towards the mainstream media. You'll be able to get it right to your desktop whenever it happens.